Welcome to the Accounting Technology Lab, sponsored by CPA Practice Advisor, with your hosts, Randy Johnston and Brian Tankersley.
Welcome to the Accounting Technology Lab. Well, I want to talk to you today about an accounting software product called CYMA, C-Y-M-A, and their payroll system. Now, CYMA's been around a long time, since 1980. Good system, a lot of legacy smart code inside there, strong job costing. The owner is an ex-cost accountant. When he bought this company, he improved the good cost accounting that is in there, but really went for a lot of different costing attributes and did it great. But they saw an opportunity in payroll. And I have frequently recommended CYMA Payroll as an alternative to Intuit's payrolls and others. And of course, there's a lot of conversation around the payroll processing that's being done against the Intuit systems today. But CYMA actually saw the payroll opportunity, and then they expanded even further into PEO payroll software. So today, besides CYMA handling general accounting, distribution, light manufacturing, and not-for-profit accounting well, I can't think of another system that is more friendly for doing payroll at volume, particularly if you want to run it in-house or if you're going to run PEOs. Now, that sounds like a whole bunch of claims, but if you've got franchise payroll needs, regular payroll needs, PEO payroll, staffing pay, they pretty much do all of those things with great success. Now, Brian, again, you've been around CYMA for a long time. You've made many trips with me to Tempe to meet with their management team. The personnel that are involved there are still much the same. So not a lot of turnover in the company. The innovation continues. I should stop and ask what you'd like our listeners to know about CYMA or CYMA Payroll.
It does multi-client well. It does fiscal and employer agent. Now, what's that? Fiscal and employer agent. Let's say that you are, Randy and I both have lost our parents now, but in their later days, both of us had people that had to come in to help out, to help our parents during their last few years with needs and things like that. And so in many states, you can actually set it up where the payroll, the amounts for it are paid by the state. Okay, so there's many states have programs for this, and so this can actually be used to handle people as kind of agents in here with this. You can, of course, do corporate payroll. Franchise payroll is another one in here, and then staffing payroll. But again, it's an interesting product, and again, they don't play games with privacy of the data, which I think is one of the more important things, again, to know about it.
Mm-hmm. So, when it comes to an overall system, the cost of this product has always been conservative, and it turns out that they have maintained so much of this through the years that they have very few exceptions or regulations at any state or any locality that they don't process correctly. Now, you got the big boys that they compete against, and they routinely will do things that many of the bigs can't do, and they clearly do it at lower costs than most of the bigs can do. So that part is always, very, very insightful. Now, I am just going to step back, though, out of payroll for a minute, Brian, and just talk a little bit about some of the other versions that this platform has. There's two distinct versions. And with the discontinuance of the QuickBooks desktop products in late July of 24, it is clear that users who've been on QuickBooks Desktop a long time sometimes just can't move over to QuickBooks Online or Xero or any of their SaaS competitors. They're not feature rich enough. And we've talked about other prop products, process resource operation planning products like Spire or like Accounting Suite, those types of products.
And again, those products sit in the mezzanine kind of above the lobby of QuickBooks. That's the entry level. but not quite up to the mid-market or the enterprise level. So again, this prop is really kind of that weird mezzanine where you've graduated from QuickBooks, but you haven't quite been promoted all the way up to a NetSuite or a Sage Intacct.
Yeah. And so it is my belief that CYMA's financial management system can readily run businesses up into the 50 to 70 million range, which sounds amazingly large, but I have used it on businesses as small as 1 million. They also have a not-for-profit edition, but the accounting software modules are complete. In the old days, we used to say Glapper, General Ledger, AP, and so forth, but they have accounts payable, accounts receivable, after the fact accounting for write-up work, bank reconciliations, client billing, employee self-service modules, GL. They track grants. Obviously, they're not for profit effort. They do HR, and they've actually got a pretty good HR system. Do inventory control. They do job costing, payroll. We started this conversation about. They do project tracking. They do purchase orders, sales orders, staffing, and then run all of it through their system manager and user portals. Now, they have other internal and third-party add-ons that they can use. They do a managed backup. In fact, they were one of the very first companies that agreed to back up in Seagate's data centers down in Dallas, and they maintained that relationship for a long time, and they use a lot of different report writers. But I want you to get a flavor that CYMA is a very robust small business accounting system and a super strong payroll system that covers pretty much all different payroll needs. Now, again, I don't want to make claims that the vendor can't live up to, but I will just comment, like Brian, I know you've done in another technology lab. When I first started my NMGI businesses, we ran CYMA. We were CYMA's largest reseller in Kansas in the early days, and it was a wonderful product. We put CYMA in many places, and I've never really thought that there were many replacements that were better than CYMA. So when I sold my original operations, that CYMA authorization went with that business. And, we've tried a number of other products since then. And I'll tell you, those were bad decisions that I made. I should have just stayed with CYMA the whole bloody way because I was thinking, oh, we'll try this. It sounds like it has more. And I won't name the products that we tried that were not so good, but, if I could have had a do-over, I haven't made too many business operational mistakes, but that's one that I did make and actually made it multiple times before I really became so focused on accounting software features and helping others pick accounting software. So that's a long story, Brian. You probably never even heard me tell before. And, as it turns out, it's summer season and the Hutchinson Municipal Band plays, and I ran the band payroll on CYMA. So
who knows? Who knows? With the way QuickBooks is going with payroll, maybe you need to go back.
Yeah, it could well be. Well, anyway, that's kind of a long side rant on the accounting side and the payroll side. But Brian, I just wanted our listeners to get a flavor that CYMA, as a company, has been around since 1980. So this is a 45-year-old company, roughly, that still has great accounting products and superb payroll products. What else should our listeners know about CYMA?
I think we've covered most of it. I think again, the not-for-profit and the grant tracking, I think, is a particular thing that is problematic in a lot of our cloud applications. And so, I don't know where you can get good grant tracking in the cloud anywhere. And so this is one of the key needs I think that we have in not-for-profits and even in governmental to manage grants and to do the costing related to those and allocations and things like that. And so I think that's, besides the payroll and the specialty payroll items we talked about, I think that's the major piece that really strikes me. I've done work with governmental and not-for-profits for years and years and years, and it's, I see so many deficiencies in how people manage grants and how they budget for them and how they handle those things. And let's be honest here, okay? If you do it right, grants are free money. This is somebody else paying your operating costs for a particular service. Okay. And if you run it well, you can do a great job and you don't have any problems and you can pass through all those costs. And if it doesn't run well, then you can't pass through all those costs and you get to eat them. And so I want you to get here that grant thing, I think, is one of the special things about CYMA.
Yeah. So one other closing thought that I'd have on this, many of our accounting technology labs are overviews of systems. And here's a case where this product is so broad, we could have talked for the period of this podcast about general ledger capabilities alone. We could have talked about costing alone. We could have talked about, and I don't know how many sessions we actually could have made on this one product, but
They would have been pretty dry now if you'd done
I get that. That's the
that.
reason we didn't do it that way. But it is a great example of being able to get many of the functions you need from a single sole source supplier. And as opposed to me apologizing like I often do, this module's weak, that module's weak, there's not very many weak modules inside this product. The GL strong, the inventory strong, the costing is strong. There's just a lot about it that I think is well done and has been for a long time. But they don't spend a lot on marketing, so a lot of people don't know about them. They've just been quietly doing what they do and having a good life along the way and helping lots of companies along the way. So I just want you to be aware that they're still out there and they could be a fine alternative for those of you who are, suffering through the QuickBooks desktop or have payroll needs or not-for-profit needs. I mean, that's a kind of a 1, 2, 3 punch on this particular product. So we do appreciate you listening in on this version of the Accounting Technology Lab about CYMA, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
Thank you for sharing your time with us. We'll be back next Saturday with a new episode of the Technology Lab from CPA Practice Advisor. Have a great week.